The hour of convening having arrived, all members of this house will please report to the floor of the house, the gallery, or room 341. All members will report for work. Mr. Clerk, would you ring the bell? All members will please report to the House and take seats. We are about to have the morning roll call, so let me ask you once again, during a roll call, please keep your conversations to a minimum because it's hard for the clerk's office to hear the response. It'll go much easier and quicker. All members present will please vote here or yes to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines and call the roll.
Alexander, Hanulowitz, Barr, Barton, Belton, Bennett, Bentley, Benton, Beverly, Blackman, Bodie, Bruce, Burns, Carpenter, Carson, Chokas, Clark H., Collins, Cooper, Corbett, Dempsey, Dickey, Dollar, Drenner, Dubnik, Abstration, England, Irwin, Fleming, Fry, Gaines, Gardner, Glanton, Gravely, Harrell, Hatchett, Hawkins, Hitchens, Holcomb, Holmes, Houston, Hughley, Jackson M., Jaspers, Jones J., Kelly, Kendrick, Knight, LaHood, LaRicchia, Lumsden, Martin, Mathiak, McCall, Morris G., Newton, Nix, Oliver, Parrish, Parsons, Petrie, Perkle, Powell, Reeves, Rhodes, Rich, Ridley, Rutledge, Scoggins, Setzler, Silcox, Smith L., Smith R., Smith V., Smyrie, Stevens R., Tankersley, Tanner, Tarvin, Taylor, Thomas E., Trammell, Washburn, Watson, Welch, Werkheiser, Wiedauer, Williams A., Williamson, Yurda, Allen, Bazemore, Bernal, Cannon, Clark, Carter, Clark D., Clark J., Cook, Davis, Douglas, Dreyer, Donahue, Earhart, Evans, Frazier, Gilligan, Gertler, Henson, Hill, Hogan, Holland, Holly, Hobson, Howard, Hutchinson, Jackson D., Jones S., Jones T., Jones V., Couch, Kennard, Lopez Romero, Marin, McLean, McLaurin, McLeod, Meeks, Mitchell, Moore B, Morris C, Morris M, Nelson, Wen, Paris, Prince, Pullen, Robichaux, Saints, Schofield, Scott, Shannon, Sharper, Smith M, Stevens M, Stevenson, Thomas A.M., Turner, Walensky, Wilkerson, Williams M.F., Williams N., Wilson, Beasley Teague,
Here.
Bonner,
Here.
Buckner,
Here.
Burchett,
Here.
Caldwell,
Here.
Campbell,
Here.
Cantrell,
Here.
Dickerson,
Here.
Dukes, Gamble,
Here.
Gilliard,
Here.
Gordon,
Here.
Green,
Here.
Gullett,
Here.
Jones J.B.,
Here.
Kirby, Lott, Mathis,
Here. Here.
Metz, Momtahan, Park, Pruitt,
Here.
Rogers,
Here.
Singleton, Stovall,
Here. Here.
Williams R.,
Here.
Allen, Anulowitz, Belton, Holcomb, Holly, Hutchinson, Metz, Momtahan, Moore B, Wen, Park, Rutledge, Saints, Sharper, Smith L, Smith M, Thomas A.M., Wilkerson.
Members will take a moment to be sure the board is accurate. Any others? Did I? Is that Sharp or Holly? I can't hardly see. It looks like you're wearing a football helmet, so. Representative Holly. Any others? Representative Beth Moore. Any others? Last call. Clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. Well, good morning. A little weak. Good morning. Hope everyone had a good day yesterday. and welcome back to Legislative Day 36. We will begin this day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the lady from the 13th House District, Chairman Katie Dempsey. Chairman Dempsey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning. I'm humbled to bring to you today a great friend. Reverend Jody Haggerty has served as senior pastor of Cornerstone Church in Rome since 2008. He has a true passion for redefining the way church is done, and under his leadership, Cornerstone has grown its strategic initiatives for impacting lives not only throughout Floyd County, but around the world. His worldview was first challenged on mission to Colombia. This new perspective expanded his compassion for all people and energized his vision to make the gospel accessible to everyone, everywhere. Based on the inspiration of his experience in Colombia, Reverend Haggerty brought a Spanish-speaking Colombian pastor to Rome and established the Cornerstone and Espanol congregation. And that same year, he led Cornerstone to create partnerships in remote Guatemala and multiple countries in Southeast Asia. In the years since, Cornerstone has expanded its international influence to include South Sudan and Haiti, addressing all kinds of concerns, improving hygiene, increasing access to education, end sex trafficking, and above all, communicate the love of Christ in indigenous languages and cultures. Over the last 4 years, with a growing international footprint, Reverend Haggerty began to work with more than 20 local pastors to develop strategies for addressing the social ills and increasing needs of vulnerable populations in Rome and Floyd County. Just like us, establishing that relationship before the need arises. Their joint efforts grew into the Churches of Rome, a collaborative effort of congregations crossing lines of denomination and ethnicity to meet the needs of all people in the name of Christ. Throughout the COVID-19 crisis, they have been significantly involved in providing services, supporting essential workers and healthcare professionals. But in the most recent weeks, along with the African American pastors, the Churches of Rome have been afforded a unique platform and opportunity to leverage their collaborative relationships to promote unity, peace, and edifying dialogue in Rome. Most recently hosting a public forum to lead discussions on the impact of race in Rome, to establish ongoing dialogue with local pastors and their senior leadership of the local police department. Reverend Haggerty and his wife Haley have 3 beautiful daughters, Ava 14, Julia Kate, and Piper 5. His love of those children mirrors everything that he hopes for each and every one of us and for our great state. He is a true friend, and I hope that you'll be blessed by his message this morning. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you, Representative Dempsey, for the invite, and thank you to everyone else in this great room today for allowing me to share a few minutes with you before you begin your day. I don't have a sermon for you this morning, don't have a lot of scripture reading. I just want to share a lesson with you that my 14-year-old just taught me, and I pray that it helps. First of all, this is not my first time here. I don't know if you ever think about this, but the inspiration of a child. I came here as a 5th grader on a school bus from Rome, Georgia. Got to sit in one of your seats. Not sure which one it is now, but I just remember getting to vote for something that day. All I remember is Miss Wilson telling me, well, she was telling the whole class, but she pointed at me specifically to say, don't you dare write your name in those desks. So I want to make something very clear to you this morning before I go any further. If you see any names in those desks, I didn't do it. I promise you it wasn't me, okay? Just want to make that clear. But I was so inspired as a child when I first came here and I sat in this room. I sat in one of your desks. And this is what I thought as a 5th grader. There are important people in this room. I mean, wow. I looked across to my left and I thought, I bet Abraham Lincoln sat right there. George Washington maybe sat in my seat. I mean, I was so inspired. Important people sit in this room. Now, Miss Wilson helped me with my civics and my American history later, but I was right about one thing. Important people do sit in this room. And if you haven't been told lately, you're important to us. I don't care what political party you're with. We pray for you. I pray for you that you would have wisdom. I know you have difficult things to decide this week, and I know there's a lot on you. Our state is hurting. Our cities are hurting. Our communities are hurting. But we are praying for you. You are valuable to us, and we appreciate your service. As I was sharing with my older daughter that I would be speaking here today, she was sharing with me about an opportunity that she had come to her door. She actually texted me this, and this is how she texted me, so I can get it right. Dad, did you get my DM from IG about DW? And I said, baby, what does that mean? Did you get my direct message from Instagram about Disney World? Oh, thank you. No, I did. I got it, but I didn't understand that. So what about that? What do you want to talk about that? What did you get it? And I read it. She had an invite to possibly try out as either a model or an extra on the show or something like that. And I didn't know if it was real or fake, or I had to check it out. She said, what do you think? Should I do it? And I said, baby, if that's in your heart, go ahead. I'll help you with it. Then she began to say to me, but Dad, I'm nervous. What if they don't like me? I said, baby, I'm going to speak before the House in Georgia. I'm nervous too. What if they don't like me? That's a possibility. But you got to try anyway if it's in your heart. She said, but Dad, what if I do it and they say yes? I don't want to be like some of those other people that have been on TV if they make bad decisions when they get money or fame. And what if they like me and they put me on something, and what if I change? To which I replied to her this, baby, money, power, and fame do not change you. They only reveal what's in your heart. Whatever's in your heart is only amplified by money, power, and fame. And at this point, I thought I was being a great dad, you know. I was teaching her a lesson. But this is what she taught me next. She said, Dad, so you think I should do this then? I said, sure. I said, I'll make the call. Let me make sure it's legitimate first, you know. And she said, okay, sounds great, Dad. But hey, before you call them, we're at the parking lot of our church. She's about to get out. She says, opens the door and says, before you call them, I want to check my heart first. It's coming from a 14-year-old. And I thought to myself, how often lately have I checked my heart? You don't have to be a person of faith to do this. To the individual at the Starbucks store who got my order wrong, did I check my heart, or did I just reply out of frustration because I didn't get the right syrup? To my employees who work for me and make me look really good, have I checked my heart with them lately? To the people that disagree with me, have I checked my heart with them today? We're never going to see 100% eye to eye. No one's ever going to agree 100% with us. But I thought about my daughter, and the last thing I would say with you today is this. We teach our children this from the time they're very little. We teach them the golden rule, which Jesus taught. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so this morning, imagine what would happen if all of us, regardless of our faith, just simply did what a child taught me to do. And that's just check my heart today. Would you allow me to pray for you this morning? Dear Jesus, I thank you so much for this body. I thank you, Lord, for the governing body in this room. I thank you, God, and I don't count it as any small privilege to be here to pray for them. Father, I'm asking you that you would bring wisdom in this house, guidance for decisions that have to be made. Lord, the pressure that is there, we all know it's present, but I pray that you would bring peace in this room, peace in every meeting that goes forth, wisdom for every decision, and understanding for every conflict. But God, most of all, I ask you to help us each check our heart today as we try to follow you more and we try to listen to you greatly. It's in Jesus' name we pray and give you thanks. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. The chair recognizes Chairman Hogan, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Information and Audits read the proceedings of the previous legislative day and found them to be correct. And further, funny about getting older, your eyesight may weaken, but yet you can see through people much better.
How true. Mr. Chairman, can you update us one day this week on the removal of the golden ray from the sound down there? I've been getting pictures from some amateur photographer, and looks like that project's moving into a great phase. Chairman Hogan, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. Burns, the 159th moves following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 1244 by Representative Parker, the 101st. Robichaux of the 48th, Jackson the 128th, Fry the 118th, Jones 53rd, and others. The bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 35, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to law enforcement officers and agencies.
Governmental Affairs.
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Burchett of the 176th to be entitled an act to create the Lanier County Building Authority.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Burchett of the 176th and others be entitled an act to amend an act creating the Ware County Water and Sewer Authority.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Williams of the 148th to be entitled an act to provide a new charter for the city of Cordele.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Clark of the 147th to be titled an act to provide a new charter for the city of Warner Robins.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 506 by Senator Underman of the 45th, bill being titled an act to provide for a homestead exemption from City of Beaufort ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 510 by Senator Tillery of the 19th, bill being titled an act to create a Board of Elections and Registration for Wheeler County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 517 by Senator Lucas, the 26th, bill being titled an act to provide a new charter for the city of Jeffersonville.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 1235 by Representative Shannon of the 84th, Thomas of the 39th, Wynn of the 89th, Scott of the 76th, Davis of the 87th, and others, a bill relating to holidays and observances. House Bill 1236 by Representative Hughley of the 136th, Jackson of the 128th, Bennett of the 94th, Buckner of the 137th, Bentley of the 139th, and others, a bill relating to meetings open to the public, limitation on action to contest it, agency action, recording, notice of time and place, access to minutes, and telecommunication conferences. House Bill 1237 by Representative Hill of the 3rd, a bill relating to coursework in the founding philosophy and principles of the United States of America. House Bill 1238 by Representative Smith of the 41st, a bill relating to elections and primaries. House Bill 1239 by Representative Beverly of the 143rd, Bentley of the 139th, Paris of the 142nd, Nelson of the 125th, Sharper of the 177th, and others, a bill relating to general provisions for prosecuting attorneys. House Bill 1241 by Representative Dempsey of the 13th, Stevens of the 164th, Dickerson of the 113th, Cooper of the 43rd, and Hutchinson of the 107th, a bill relating to professions and businesses. House Bill 1242 by Representative Drenner of the 85th, Shannon of the 84th, Oliver of the 82nd, and Evans of the 83rd, bill to provide a homestead exemption from City of Decatur Independent School District ad valorem taxes. House Bill 1243 by Representative Davis of the 87th, Mitchell of the 88th, Shannon of the 84th, Wynn of the 89th, Henson of the 86th, and others, a bill to amend an act revising, superseding, and consolidating the laws relating to the governing authority of DeKalb County, creating a chairman and board of commissioners of said county. House Resolution 1600 by Representative Gertler of the 8th, the resolution honoring the life and memory of Sheriff J. Vernon Chastain Sr. Senate Bill 511 by Senator Lucas of the 26th, a bill to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Twiggs County, through second readers.
Reports of standing committees, the clerk will read.
Representative Clark of the 147th District, Chairman of the Committee on Defense and Veteran Affairs, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Defense and Veteran Affairs has had under consideration the following bill and resolution of the House and Senate. It's instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 268, do pass. House Resolution 1166, do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Clark of the 147th District, Chairman. Representative Shaw Blackman of the 146th District, Chairman of the Committee on Governmental Affairs, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Governmental Affairs has under consideration the following bills of the Senate. It has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. Senate Bill 312, do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 413, do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Shaw Blackman of the 146th District, Chairman. Representative Benton of the 31st District, Chairman of the Committee on Retirement, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Retirement has in consideration the following bill of the Senate. It has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 271, do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Benton of the 31st District, Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
We are now going on to morning orders. Going on to morning orders. This House will come to order. House will come to order. Members will give members in the well their respect and attention. Remind the members that are speaking that we have a total of 10 minutes for all of the morning orders. The chair recognizes Representative Bazemore for a morning order.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. So the last time I was before you, I shared some statistics from the CDC regarding our children. That number across the nation was 87,806. As of Sunday, the number is now 99,618 across the nation, which is an increase of 11,812. In Georgia, the Georgia Department of Public Health, I believe it was last Thursday I came before you, the cases were 2,859. As of Sunday, the cases stand at 3,252 cases, which is an increase of 393 of our children in Georgia. Those under the age of 1 is 153. Those 1 to 4, 475. Those 5 to 9, 648. Those 10 to 17, 1,976. These are not fictitious numbers for just fictitious children. These are our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews, our sons and our daughters. We have to right now have this conversation and make a plan to keep our children safe, especially because we have superintendents, we have directors of daycares, and we have sports that are going to resume. We have to make a plan to keep our children safe. And I just want to remind you that in Long County, they had to cancel the conditioning and interaction because a child contracted COVID-19. And on another note, I just want you to know at ages 18 to 29, that group is at 11,568. They have surpassed all other groups that we were concerned about. Please, let's have the conversation and get a plan. Thank you so much, and I yield the well.
Representative Hutchinson is recognized for a morning order. Representative Hutchinson. I do not see her. We are now going on to the rules calendar. We're going to be at ease for just a moment or two while the clerk's office finishes preparations for the rules calendar. Okay, we'll come back to order. What purpose does the minority leader of the House rise?
Mr. Speaker, to make a motion,
State your motion.
I move to take from the table House Bill 1167.
Gentleman has moved that House Bill 1167 be removed from the table. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 1167 by Representative Cannon of the 59th, A.M. Thomas of the 56th, Gardner of the 57th, and others, be entitled an act to provide for a new homestead exemption from City of Atlanta ad valorem taxes.
On the gentleman's motion that House Bill 1167 be removed from the table, is there any objection? Hearing none, it is so ordered, and that bill will go on the next local calendar. All right, now we're going on to the rules calendar. Going on to the rules calendar. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 313.
Senate Bill 313 by Senator Burke of the 11th, Watson the 1st, Dugan of the 30th, Kennedy of the 18th, Hufstetler of the 52nd, and others, being entitled an act to amend Chapter 64 of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to regulation and licensure of pharmacy benefit managers. This bill having been referred to the Committee on the Special Committee on Quality Health Care. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman David Knight to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To my colleagues, I want to first begin by saying thank you. For many years now, this state, through the leadership of the legislature, has been aggressively dealing with one of the, I believe, the nation's largest problems dealing with health care, and that is the excessive price of prescription drugs, and also, quite frankly, the practices of these large companies in which they hide behind proprietary and confidential information, the unscrupulous practices. You have helped over a number of years lead the way from a state's perspective as we address this. Last year, I'll remind you that we passed House Bill 233 and House Bill 323. First in the nation, anti-steering legislation. 323 dealt with it from the insurance side, but more so, House Bill 233, which was very, very important, dealt with it from the regulation of the pharmacy side. We weren't getting at PBMs, we were getting at pharmacies affiliated with those PBMs. This year, this House has passed 4 pieces of legislation that again deal with this and update our position that we are going to deal with this heinous practices that we see in this industry, the high price of prescription drugs, and we have been very successful. Senate Bill 313, I'm happy to inform, is a bill in which passed out of our House as a committee substitute that is going to mirror House Bill 946 that this body passed, and it passed out of the Senate last week, and you're going to have 2 bills that are identical bills, and they're going to be the toughest. This bill will be one of the toughest measures in the nation against PBMs. And this legislature, through all the hard work we've done, have had a cooperative spirit between the House and the Senate. And it is on the calendar in the Senate today. So briefly, I don't want to rehash what 946 did, but again, I want to let you know that Senate Bill 313 and House Bill 946, as you see it, and as the changes I'm about to explain to you, when they pass out, we're going to have 2 identical bills. So let me tell you what the changes are that you're going to see as these bills come through, and they'll be the same. First of all, before I get to that, I want to let you know that we have had an exhaustive process, and I want to thank Chairman Newton and others who have absolutely put their heart and soul in this. Chairman Cooper, Chairman Hatchett, and others, I know I'm missing some, that have put their heart and soul into this issue. And we also, I want to let you know, have made sure that we have had an open process, many hearings, and the changes that you will see today were a result of meeting with not only DCH, but the governor's office to come up with these changes so that we have, I think, the best piece of legislation going forward. So with that, I want to make sure that we go over those changes. So the change, Section 3 of Senate Bill 313 simply removes a requirement that the formulary and prior authorization committees have a licensed physician. We came at this very hard. We heard that that would be unrealistic due to cost. So what we've done is we've kept in the provision regarding the appeals process that says if you're a doctor with a PBM, you have to have on that a physician working at PBM involved with a physician of the same practice on that appeal. So if you're an orthopedic surgeon, you don't need to be talking to a pediatrician. And so we're moving this forward. And we've also included language that instructs DCH as they enter in these contracts to make sure that they try to include Georgia licensed physicians in future contracts and amendments with these PBMs. Section 4, there was some concern regarding the responsibility for Medicaid and state health benefit audits. We simply made sure that DCH, clarified that DCH has the authority under the substitute. Section 5, there was concern from industry in regarding the confidentiality of the methodologies. And we said and we clarified language, as long as the confidentiality standards of Georgia law are met, that the methodology submitted to the commissioner stay confidential. We also had, and I think the heart of the bill was a reporting process that for the first time gets at transparency. We have moved that from every 3 months to 4 months, and we had concerns from some folks out there, and we've carved out the 340B claims out of this. And that was also in discussion with DCH. And we've also heard the concerns of the cost to the state. So we've now changed those provisions to put the onus back on the PBMs to publish this information online and submit that to the commissioner. Section 6 removed the requirements, and we had very, very onerous requirements that PBMs pass back 100% of rebates and discounts. And what we did, listening to industry, we said you've got to offer those in all your plans. So no longer can they hide behind that. They're going to have to offer an option in those plans that of what a 100% rebate would look like. So we also added in our prohibition on spread pricing. And if you remember, we had concerns, a lot of people about the commercial, this is going to cost more. So we basically said that there would be an exception for the requirement on non-spread pricing. They have to offer the options on a plan for non-spread spread pricing in the commercial sector. However, as we've seen this, and through the reports of this General Assembly, we've seen that the state managed care have been charging spread pricings to the state for years in the tune of tens of millions of dollars. And so we've kept that provision in as it regards to governmental plans. We've also heard the concerns from DCH. We have modified the copay such that we've added in a provision about generic drugs. But we, for the first time, have addressed this, and we've told the PBMs that if you accept a copay or a payment on behalf of the beneficiary, that you will apply it across the board to deductibles or copays across the board. And beforehand, they were accepting some of this, but they did not apply it to the members' copay or deductible. Section 7, we had a morals clause that required PBMs contract with the state to adhere to all Georgia laws across the market channels. We've backed out and compromised on that. And then Section 8, with regard to state auditors' roles, we made revisions that were not material that better reflect and make sure that they're clear on the audit provisions going forward at SB 313. Members, with that, again, I want to reiterate, we passed this today, SB 13, and the Senate passes the substitute that was passed over there in the Senate committee, we will have identical bills. 313 and 946 will be identical bills, and it will be the toughest PBM legislation in the nation. And hopefully with that, we can bring transparency, finally bring some transparency to drug pricing, and we can make sure that we continue to give choice to our patients in Georgia, to the beneficiaries in Georgia. With that, Mr. Speaker, I will stand for any questions.
Any questions? Chair, do you yield for questions?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes the majority leader of the House to your right for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The gentleman yield.
Yes, to the leader I do.
Mr. Chairman, I really don't have a question, to be honest with you, but you recognize a lot of folks that are a big part of moving this legislation over a long period of time and taking all voices into consideration. But you left yourself out. We appreciate your passion for this issue and your passion for doing the right thing for the people of Georgia. Thank you, and I look forward to supporting it and encourage all the members to support this bill.
Thank you, Leader Burns. I appreciate it. Mr. Speaker, if there's no other questions, I'm going to yield the well, and I'll ask for this chamber's continued support for this bill as we try to address the health care crisis that we see in this state and this country. Thank you.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 313 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machines and call the roll.
Alexander, Nulowitz, Barr, Barton, Belton, Bennett, Bentley, Benton, Beverly, Blackman, Bodie, Bruce, Burns, Carpenter, Carson, Chokus, Clark H., Collins, Cooper, Corbett, Dempsey, Dickey, Dollar, Drenner, Dubnik, Efstration, England, Irwin, Fleming, Fry, Gaines, Gardner, Glanton, Gravely, Harrell, Hatchett, Hawkins, Hitchens, Holcomb, Holmes, Houston, Hughley, Jackson M., Jaspers, Jones J., Kelly, Kendrick, Knight, LaHood, LaRicchia, Lumsden, Martin, Mathiak, McCall, Morris G., Newton, Nix, Oliver, Parrish, Parsons, Petrie, Perkel, Powell, Reeves, Rhodes, Rich, Ridley, Rutledge, Scoggins, Setzler, Silcox, Smith L., Smith R., Smith V., Smyrie, Stevens R., Tankersley, Tanner, Tarvin, Taylor, Thomas E., Trammell, Watson, Welch, Werkheiser, Wiedauer, Williams A., Williamson, Yurda, Allen, Bazemore, Bernau, Cannon, Carter, Clark D., Clark J., Cook, Davis, Douglas, Dreyer, Donahue, Earhart, Evans, Frazier, Gilligan, Gertler, Henson, Hill, Hogan, Holland, Holly, Hobson, Howard, Hutchinson, Jackson D., Jones S., Jones T., Jones V., Couch, Kennard, Lopez Romero, Marin, McLean, McLaurin, McLeod, Meeks, Mitchell, Moore B., Moore C., Morris M., Nelson, Huen, Paris, Prince, Pullen, Robichaux, Saints, Schofield, Scott, Shannon, Sharper, Smith M., Stevens M., Stevenson, Thomas A.M., Turner, Walensky, Wilkerson, Williams M.F., Williams N., Wilson, Beasley Teague,
Yes. Yes.
Bonner,
Yes.
Buckner,
Yes.
Burchett,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Cantrell,
Yes.
Dickerson,
Yes.
Dukes,
Yes.
Gamble,
Yes.
Gilliard,
Yes.
Gordon, Green,
Yes. Yes.
Gullett,
Yes.
Jones J.B.,
Yes.
Kirby,
Yes.
Lott,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Metz,
Yes.
Momtahan,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Pruitt,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Singleton,
Yes.
Stovall,
Yes.
Williams R.,
Yes.
Cannon, Carter, England, Jones V., Smith M., Thomas A.M., Wilkerson.
Okay, members should look at the board and make sure that it is correct. Hearing no corrections, the clerk shall lock the machines. On the passage of Senate Bill 313, the ayes are 161, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 504.
Senate Bill 504 by Senator Ligon Jr. III to be entitled an act to provide for a non-binding advisory referendum for the purpose of ascertaining whether the electors of Glynn County desire the Glynn County Board of Commissioners to abolish the Glynn County Police Department. This bill having referred to the Committee on Governmental Affairs, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
The chair recognizes the chairman of the Committee on Information and Audits, Chairman Hogan. distinguished resident of Glenn County, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for those comments. Members of the House, today I bring to you Senate Bill 504, which is a non-binding advisory referendum. The two questions on it is, would the people recommend to abolish the Glenn County Police Department and consolidate its resources under the Glenn County Sheriff's Department, or would they retain the Glenn County Police Department while making the necessary reforms and resolve all issues identified by the Glenn County Grand Jury? That is a bill, and Mr. Speaker, I will take questions if there are any.
I do not see any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 504 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine and call the roll.
Alexander, Manulowicz, Barr, Barton, Belton, Bennett, Bentley, Benton, Beverly, Blackman, Bodie, Bruce, Burns, Carpenter, Carson, Chokus, Clark H., Collins, Cooper, Corbett, Dempsey, Dickey, Dollar, Drenner, Dubnik, Efstration, England, Irwin, Fleming, Fry, Gaines, Gardner, Glanton, Gravely, Harrell, Hatchett, Hawkins, Hitchens, Holcomb, Holmes, Houston, Hughley, Jackson M., Jaspers, Jones J., Kelly, Kendrick, Knight, LaHood, Laricchia, Lumsden, Martin, Mathiak, McCall, Morris G., Newton, Nix, Oliver, Parrish, Parsons, Petrie, Perkle, Powell, Reeves, Rhodes, Rich, Ridley, Rutledge, Scoggins, Setzler, Silcox, Smith L., Smith R., Smith V., Smyrie, Stevens R., Tankersley, Tanner, Tarvin, Taylor, Thomas E., Trammell, Washburn, Watson, Welch, Werkheiser, Wiedauer, Williams A., Williamson, Williams A., Williamson, Yurda, Allen, Bazemore, Bernau, Cannon, Carter, Clark D., Clark J., Cook, Davis, Douglas, Dreyer, Donahue, Earhart, Evans, Frazier, Gilligan, Gertler, Henson, Hill, Hogan, Holland, Holly, Hobson, Howard, Hutchinson, Jackson D, Jones S, Jones T, Jones V, Couch, Kennard, Lopez Romero, Marin, McLean, McLaurin, McLeod, Meeks, Mitchell, Moore B, Moore C, Morris M, Nelson, Wen, Paris, Prince, Pullen, Robichaux, Saints, Schofield, Scott, Shannon, Sharper, Smith M, Stevens M, Stevens Son, Thomas A.M., Turner, Walensky, Wilkerson, Williams M.F., Williams N., Wilson, Beasley Teague,
Yes.
Bonner,
Yes.
Buckner,
Yes.
Burchett,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Cantrell,
Yes.
Dickerson, Dukes,
Yes. Yes.
Gamble,
Yes.
Gilliard,
Yes.
Gordon, Green,
Yes.
Gullett,
Yes.
Jones J.B.,
No.
Kirby,
Yes.
Lott,
No.
Mathis, Metz, Mompton,
Yes. Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Pruitt,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Singleton,
Yes.
Stovall,
Yes.
Williams R.,
Yes.
Carpenter, Gilligan, Gordon, Mathis, Mitchell, Morris M., Paris, Smith M., Wilkerson.
Okay, members will look at the board and make sure that it is accurate. Hearing no objections, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of Senate Bill 504. The ayes are 159. The nays are 3. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 439.
Senate Bill 439 by Senator Brass, the 28th, Thompson, the 14th, Mullis, the 53rd, Gooch, the 51st, Dugan, the 30th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 11 of Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Juvenile Code so as to provide for an enhanced notice to and improved participation of foster, pre-adoptive, and relative caregivers in certain hearings. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Juvenile Justice, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Representative Wiedauer to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I bring before you Senate Bill 439. We've done a lot of things in the legislature over the last several years to ensure that foster care children and judges that have to make decisions on the well-being of those children get the information they need so they can make the best decision for the interest of that child. And that's exactly what this bill does. It takes it a step further. It ensures that foster care parents are contacted appropriately in writing. It's a key element so that the judge has those findings at their disposal so that they know where exactly that foster parent stands in this matter. It provides for those judges having access to those findings to give them the best opportunity to do the best thing for the child as they decide their placement and what happens with that child. Mr. Speaker, I'll yield for any questions.
You do not appear. We do have a question. Wilkerson? Prince. Chair recognizes Representative Prince up in the gallery to your left.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Is it not true that foster parents, adoptive parents, the parents that we're addressing in this legislation provide some type of ring of care for most of these kids that have basically lost their parents due to some unfortunate circumstance?
The gentleman definitely knows what he speaks. Thank you.
Does the gentleman further yield?
I do.
And plus, that ring of care could also turn into the ring of necessity. These young people then go to the ring of duty, thus become very productive citizens in the United States.
I would think that the gentleman is definitely caught up on some reading.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, I'll yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 439 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine and call the roll.
Alexander, Konulowitz, Barr, Barton, Belton, Bennett, Bentley, Benton, Beverly, Blackman, Bodie, Bruce, Burns, Carpenter, Carson, Chokas, Clark H., Collins, Cooper, Corbett, Dempsey, Dickey, Dollar, Drenner, Dubnik, Abstration, England, Irwin, Fleming, Fry, Gaines, Gardner, Glanton, Gravely, Harrell, Hatchett, Hawkins, Hitchens, Holcomb, Holmes, Houston, Hughley, Jackson M., Jaspers, Jones J., Kelly, Kendrick, Knight, LaHood, LaRicchia, Lumsden, Martin, Mathiak, McCall, Morris G., Newton, Nix, Oliver, Parrish, Parsons, Petrie, Perkle, Powell, Reeves, Rhodes, Rich, Ridley, Rutledge, Scoggins, Setzler, Silcox, Smith L., Smith R., Smith V., Smyrie, Stevens R., Tankersley, Tanner, Tarvin, Taylor, Thomas E., Trammell, Washburn, Watson, Welch, Werkheiser, Wiedauer, Williams A., Williamson, Yurda, Allen, Bazemore, Bernau, Cannon, Carter, Clark D., Clark J., Cook, Davis, Douglas, Dreyer, Donahue, Earhart, Evans, Frazier, Gilligan, Gertler, Henson, Hill, Hogan, Holland, Holly, Hobson, Howard, Hutchinson, Jackson D., Jones S., Jones T., Jones V., Couch, Kennard, Lopez Romero, Marin, McLean, McLaurin, McLeod, Meeks, Mitchell, Moore B., Moore C., Morris M., Nelson, Wen, Paris, Prince, Pullen, Robichaud, Saints, Schofield, Scott, Shannon, Sharper, Smith M., Stevens M., Stevenson, Thomas A.M., Turner, Walensky, Wilkerson, Williams M.F., Williams N., Wilson, Beasley Teague,
Yes.
Bonner,
Yes.
Buckner,
Yes.
Burchett,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Cantrell,
Yes.
Dickerson,
Yes.
Dukes,
Yes.
Gamble,
Yes.
Gilliard,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Gullett,
Yes.
Jones, J.B.,
Yes.
Kirby,
Yes.
Lott,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Metz,
Yes.
Momtahan,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Pruitt, Rogers,
Yes.
Singleton,
Yes.
Stovall,
Yes.
Williams R.,
Yes.
Harrell, Holland, Cooper, Paris, Pullen, Saints, Setzler, Smith M., Smyrie, Thomas A.M., Trammell, Williams A. Williams N.
Members will take a moment and make sure the board is accurate. Hearing no concerns, the clerk may lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 439. The ayes are 162, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. The clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 249. Senate Bill 249.
Senate Bill 249 by Senator Albers of the 56th, Harper of the 7th, and Robertson of the 29th, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 17 of Title 47, the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Peace Officers Annuity and Benefit Fund. This bill having referred to the Committee on Retirement, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Senate Bill 249 was postponed from the previous legislative day until the next legislative day. When it was before the Rules Committee and was approved to move forward, it was assigned a 1-hour debate limit. That does not include the initial presentation by the author, or the chairman's time, if any. Chair recognizes Representative Gravely to present the bill. Let's have a little order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, today I bring to you a much-needed provision in our state. Senate Bill 249 has been worked on for the past 25 years. The bill simply does this. It adds jail officers to the list of eligible persons for the Peace Officers Annuity Benefit Program. Now, friends, I want to tell you something. Across this state and communities, in the rural communities both large and small, you have men and women who day in and day out, on every shift, do not leave the jailhouse. These are not road officers. These are not road deputies. These are not even what you would consider top-tier brass personnel. These are individuals, day in and day out, who have upfront and personal interaction with inmates. And they are not eligible to participate in the retirement program called the Police Officers Annuity Benefit. Now, this bill also does this. It increases the monthly contribution that members, those law enforcement personnel across the board that are involved in this particular program, it increases their monthly contribution from $20 to $25. It has a cap up to $50. So if that contribution needs to increase, it can be increased up to $50 that the individuals that are members of this program will have to contribute monthly. It revises the current tier system that we have in determining fines / fees for base fines for criminal acts, for quasi-criminal acts. It goes from a tier system, it goes to a flat fee system or a flat fine system. For pre-trial, $5 or 5% of the base fine. At conviction, $10 or 10% of the base crime, whichever is higher. Now, friends, I also want to say this. This bill, or a vote yes for this bill, not only funds the police officer annuity benefit. I want to tell you what else these fines, the percentages that the individual would pay, I want to tell you what else it funds. The Brain and Spinal Injury Trust Fund. Peace Officer, Prosecutor, and Indigent Defense Fund A and B. Local Victim Assistance Program. The County Law Library. State Crime Victims Emergency Fund. Drug Abuse Treatment and Education Fund. The Safe Harbor for Sexually Exploited Children's Fund. Part of the fines go into the State General Fund specifically for the Crime Lab. It also does indigent defense application fee. So friends, just a couple of months ago, this measure passed the state Senate unanimously. Both Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives voted unanimously to add jailers into this fund and to move from a tier fee structure to a flat fee rate of $5 again, or 5% of the base fine, $10 or 10% of the base fine. That's what this bill does, ladies and gentlemen. It simply allows those since 1950 who have not allowed to be a part of this program. For 70 years, this program has been available, but they've been ineligible to be able to be a part of it. This bill allows them to be a part of it, and they will pay their contribution into a monthly basis for this program. Mr. Speaker, I would ask for favorable consideration. I know there may be some that want to speak on the bill, but I would ask for your yes vote on SB 249.
Do you yield for questions?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative McLaurin to your left up in the gallery for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Is it not true, sir, that Georgia Constitution Article 1, Section 1, Paragraph 24 reads that no person shall be compelled to pay costs in any criminal case except after conviction on final trial?
I believe if the individual is reading that, I believe he believes what he states.
Will the gentleman yield for one more question?
I will.
Thank you. Is it not true that in referring to an additional supplemental cost on top of a pretrial diversion programs cost that is calculated as a base, or as a percentage on that cost as a base, which you referred to as a fine, is it not true that that additional percentage fine is in violation of that constitutional provision?
I don't know if that's true. No, sir.
Okay, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do not think you have any other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any I'm sorry. We have others that have signed up to speak. Chair recognizes Representative Wilkerson to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I come down to speak in opposition to Senate Bill 249. I don't do this lightly. I believe that we all want to see our officers and jailers get the retirement that they deserve. The question is, how do we pay for that? When you get a simple traffic ticket, you should not fund this whole state government, whether it's retirement for police officers or whether it's all the laundry list of items that the representative had read already. So it's not a question of whether we want it or not, it's a question of whether now is the time to be adding additional fines. The pretrial diversion program is very successful in Cobb County, but we're gonna go from charging $5 to 5%. That's a pretty big jump. So I'm down here today, and I've spoken to some officers, and they understand that. Once you say that, the perception will be that we're in a tight budget squeeze, and that we're going to encourage officers to go out and give tickets. So when someone gets pulled over, they're getting pulled over because they have a frame on their license plate, like many of us have, and that's why they're getting the ticket with an additional fine on it, or are they getting a fine because they got to make payroll and make retirement? We are creating tension where there doesn't need to be any tension by adding all these fines on every charge. Punish people for the crime they commit, but don't subsidize government. So that's the only reason, that I'm down here, is to basically say that we need to fund it, but we need to do it the right way and get out of fines and just look at the budget, put our priorities in place, and if police officers are our priority, which I believe they are, then we need to pay for it appropriately. And I'll just yield for any questions.
You have a question if you care to yield.
I do.
Chair recognizes Representative Vernon Jones. He waives.
Okay.
I do not think you have any other questions.
Thank you, and I ask that you vote in opposition and that we come back next year and fund this properly. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the Minority Leader of the House, Leader Trammell, to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, Section 1 and Section 2, I fully support. But the crux of the problem with the bill is Section 3, how we fund it. And this point has been made, and I won't belabor that point. But what I do want to tell you is who funds it. So the funding in Section 3 is paid by every defendant in Superior Court, State Court, Juvenile Court, Probate Court, Magistrate Court, and Municipal Court. So I want everybody to make sure that they understand when they pass this, that anybody who passes through that, whether it be a local code ordinance violation, all the way up to a felony defendant in Superior Court, has the potential to be impacted by this legislation. The fiscal note itself says that the revenue on fines would double if we pass this. And just for misdemeanors, let's just talk about misdemeanors for 1 second, about what it means in real out-of-pocket cost. Under Georgia law, a misdemeanor carries a fine up to $1,000. So if you're fined up to the fullest extent of the law for a misdemeanor, this bill means you pay an additional $50 over what you pay today. Now that doesn't even include the problem with pretrial diversion, where today you would just pay a flat $5 for the amount. And pretrial diversion works like this. If you're not familiar with it or don't know someone who's ever been through that process, you don't plead to the case. So there's no adjudication of guilt associated with pretrial diversion. You go in, and if you don't offend for a period of time, and you agree to make a payment to pretrial diversion, then you go about your business, and the offense, whether it be a ticket or a charge, it goes away. So today, and those range from anywhere, from practitioners, from a quick survey of that, to a couple of $100 up to $1,000. So we're moving that from $5 to 5% with no adjudication of guilt. It's of questionable constitutionality. The way it got into the law was $5 wasn't enough for people to file suit about. But 5% is different, and the constitutional infirmity is the same. One other point about this, and then I'll take my seat. You know, we like to think that when we were passing this bill that it's just, we're tacking something on to a fine that's already going to get paid. But you know what? When you are charged, whether it be a traffic ticket, whether it be a criminal charge in state court, or whether it be a local ordinance violation where you're running afoul of a building inspector in your county or some other issue, you get summoned to court. Summoned to court. And that means that the full weight of the government, in all of its power, says that you have to lay all other business aside to attend that day. So it means that you have to take time off of work, time away from any family obligation, anything. You've got to show up and be there in court that day to resolve that issue. So before we think, well, this is just a little something that we'll put on the backs of violators, we need to think about the process as well. Because This is a welcome to court tax. That's what it is. We can call it a fee, but it's a tax. It's a tax of having to show up and defend your constitutional liberty if you plead guilty, or even if you take a route where you're not really in that much trouble and you're working something out and going through pretrial diversion. We're seeking to levy a tax on citizens trying to get on with their lives. And it falls most heavily on the backs of those who can least afford to pay it in the first place. And what winds up with that? So if you can't pay the full fine, a lot of times judges, if you've got a checkbook and you can write the fine, they'll let you go on non-reporting probation, which means you don't have to check in with your probation officer. You don't have that form of onerous supervised control of the government over your life for a period of time. And the addition of $50 may mean that you have that reporting obligation for a longer period of time than you otherwise would. I'm all for funding this retirement, but surely we can do it in a fairer, more just way. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. That is all the speakers. Are you wanting to do the chairman's time, or? Okay, we're not to that point yet. Chair recognizes. Okay. Chair recognizes the chair of the Retirement Committee, Chairman Benton, for the chairman's time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll relinquish my remainder of my time to the presenter of the bill. Thank you.
Gentleman has that right. Chair recognizes Representative Gravely for the balance of the chair's time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Friends, I will simply remind you, this is how we fund the program in current law today. There's nothing unconstitutional about that. That's how we do it today. That's how we've always done it. Matter of fact, the Senate across the hall recognized that. There wasn't any arguments of unconstitutionality. Republicans and Democrats voted this unanimously. Yet 2 months later, there seems to be a constitutional conflict. Ladies and gentlemen, I would ask that you simply vote your conscience on this bill to add jailers to the POAB program. They need to be eligible. They are members of law enforcement. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. For what purpose does Representative Saines rise? State your inquiry.
Is it not true that in Georgia we were titled one of the worst states to be a law enforcement officer in 2019? And furthermore, is it not true to invest in it, to have a professional law enforcement force with integrity, we first must invest in a professional force, and a necessary component of that is to have an adequate benefits and compensation package throughout this state. and this bill does so.
If the gentleman so states, I know he believes that to be true. What purpose does Representative Vernon Jones rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, isn't it true that I've had the honor of managing a very large police department in the state of Georgia?
I think I recall that you did, yes.
Isn't it further true, Mr. Speaker, that those jailers who work at the jail, the local jails, they have one of the most dangerous jobs there is in law enforcement?
If the gentleman so states.
And is it further true that they don't have a lot of the benefits or some of the important benefits that some of the other law enforcement officers have? And they too, although I agree with the previous speaker about the fines and the amount, but isn't it true that they deserve to be protected as well so they can take care of their families and we not lose those very important trained and experienced local law enforcement officers who work in the jail each and every day, putting their lives on the line too?
If the gentleman so states, I know he believes that to be true. What purpose does Representative McLaurin rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't that true that if I were worried about the constitutionality of something, the group I'd put last on speed dial is the Senate?
Oh, there's so much I'd like to say. You're even smarter than I thought you were, Representative. What purpose does the majority leader of the House rise?
I wanted to second that motion, Mr. Speaker. Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, isn't it true that my home county, Effingham County, had one of the first victims witness programs in this state, as it was implemented there of former Senator and my dear friend, Senator Jack Hill?
I think I recall hearing that at one time.
And further parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
And isn't it further true that part of the funds part of the money that comes from this fund, these assessments, goes to the victims witness program, that the perpetrators have a hand in helping the folks that they committed crimes against and help the victims of crime put their lives back in order and give some semblance of relief to them as well?
I know the gentleman believes that to be true and that he knows what he speaks about. What purpose does Representative Bodie rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that if 5% or greater of $5 could affect indigent defendants who are trying to pay these fines and trying to pay their pretrial diversion programs where they don't have the funds already to pay those fines or fees, Mr. Speaker?
I'm sure the gentleman believes that to be true. All right, one final parliamentary inquiry and we're going to vote. What purpose does Representative Bennett rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't that true that I wholeheartedly support the police officers and jail workers in the state of Georgia?
If the lady so states.
Further parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't that true that I believe that placing fines on the most vulnerable citizens just creates more problems for those who the fines are imposed upon?
If the lady states that to be her concern, I take her at her word. Okay, is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 249 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines and call the roll.
Alexander, Anulowicz, Barr, Barton, Belton, Bennett, Bentley, Benton, Beverly, Blackman, Bodie, Bruce, Burns, Carpenter, Carson, Chokas, Clark H., Collins, Cooper, Corbett, Dempsey, Dickey, Dollar, Drenner, Dubnik, Evstration, England, Irwin, Fleming, Fry, Gaines, Gardner, Glanton, Gravely, Harrell, Hatchett, Hawkins, Hitchens, Holcomb, Holmes, Houston, Hughley, Jackson M., Jaspers, Jones J., Kelly, Kendrick, Knight, LaHood, Laricchia, Lumsden, Martin, Mathiak, McCall, Morris G., Newton, Nix, Oliver, Parrish, Parsons, Petrie, Perkle, Powell, Reeves, Rhodes, Rich, Ridley, Rutledge, Scoggins, Setzler, Silcox, Smith L., Smith R., Smith V., Smyrie, Stevens R., Tankersley, Tanner, Tarvin, Taylor, Thomas E., Trammell, Washburn, Watson, Welch, Werkheiser, Wiedauer, Williams A., Williamson, Yurda, Allen, Bazemore, Bernau, Cannon, Carter, Clark D., Clark J., Cook, Davis, Douglas, Dreyer, Donahue, Earhart, Evans, Frazier, Gilligan, Gertler, Henson, Hill, Hogan, Holland, Holly, Hobson, Howard, Hutchinson, Jackson D., Jones S., Jones T., Jones V., Couch, Kennard, Lopez Romero, Marin, McLean, McLaurin, McLeod, Meeks, Mitchell, Moore B., Moore C., Morris M., Nelson, Wen, Paris, Prince, Pullen, Robichaud, Saints, Schofield, Scott, Shannon, Sharper, Smith M., Stevens M., Stevenson, Thomas A.M., Turner, Walensky, Wilkerson, Williams M.F., Williams N., Wilson, Beasley Teague,
No.
Bonner,
Yes.
Buckner,
Yes.
Burchett,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Cantrell,
Yes.
Dickerson,
No.
Dukes,
No.
Gamble,
Yes.
Gilliard,
No.
Gordon,
No.
Green,
Yes.
Gullett.
Yes.
Jones, J.B.
Yes.
Kirby.
Yes.
Lott.
Yes.
Mathis.
Yes.
Metz.
No.
Momtahan.
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Pruitt.
Yes.
Rogers. Singleton.
Yes.
Stovall.
Yes.
Williams, R.
Yes.
Cannon. Cooper. Hitchens. Lumsden. Newton. Perkel. Sessler. Williams, A.
Okay, members will look at the board and make sure that it is consistent with your intentions. Hearing no objection, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of Senate Bill 249. The ayes are 97, the nays are 62. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 26.
Senate Bill 26 by Senator Ligon of the 3rd and Black of the 8th, to be entitled an act to amend Article 5 of Chapter 2, Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to service credible towards retirement benefits under the Employees Retirement System of Georgia. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Retirement. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Representative Noel Williams to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, colleagues. I rise today bringing a bill before you from Senator Ligon and Ellis Black on the Employee Retirement System of Georgia for part-time people or temporary employees that become full-time in our state program. First of all, this bill would amend provisions relating to credible service for members of the Employee Retirement System of Georgia. Specifically, it would allow members to obtain credible service per prior service covered under the Georgia Defined Contribution Plan. Number one, the members must accrue at least 5 years of membership service in the Employee Retirement System of Georgia. Number two, they must apply to the Board of Trustees. Number three, they must provide proof of such prior service as a Georgia Defined Contribution member. Number four, must authorize the transfer of all funds from his or her Georgia Defined Contribution Plan account. And number five, it must be actuarially sound, must pay to the Board of Trustees an amount determined to be sufficient to cover the full actuarial cost of granting such service after accounting for any transfer of funds from the Georgia Defined Contribution Plan. This plan has been researched and it is actuarially sound. The bill authorizes the member to make a one-time payment coming from the full amount established by the board within 90 days when they come from another employer, and they can make a one-time payment, or they can pay it over 120 months, and the state would do a payroll deduction method on them if that's what they chose. But we would appreciate your favorable vote on this bill, Senate Bill 26, and thank you for your time, Mr. Speaker. I yield for any questions.
Do you have a question?
No, sir, I don't. Did you find my truck?
Chairman Knight? I didn't understand that sign language. Okay. I do not think you have any questions.
I yield the will.
He's yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 26 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machines and call the roll.
Alexander, Anulowicz, Barr, Barton, Belton, Bennett, Bentley, Benton, Beverly, Blackman, Bodie, Bruce, Burns, Carpenter, Carson, Chokus, Clark H., Collins, Cooper, Corbett, Dempsey, Dickey, Dollar, Drenner, Dubnik, Efstration, England, Irwin, Fleming, Fry, Gaines, Gardner, Glanton, Gravely, Harrell, Hatchett, Hawkins, Hitchens, Holcomb, Holmes, Houston, Hughley, Jackson M., Jaspers, Jones J., Kelly, Kendrick, Knight, LaHood, Laricchia, Lumsden, Martin, Mathiak, McCall, Morris G., Newton, Nix, Oliver, Parrish, Parsons, Petrie, Perkle, Powell, Reeves, Rhodes, Rich, Ridley, Rutledge, Scoggins, Setzler, Silcox, Smith L., Smith R., Smith V., Smyrie, Stevens R., Tankersley, Tanner, Tarvin, Taylor, Thomas E., Trammell, Washburn, Watson, Welch, Werkheiser, Wiedauer, Williams A., Williamson, Yerda, Allen, Bazemore, Bernau, Cannon, Carter, Clark D., Clark J., Cook, Davis, Douglas, Dreyer, Donahue, Earhart, Evans, Frazier, Gilligan, Gertler, Henson, Hill, Hogan, Holland, Holly, Hobson, Howard, Hutchinson, Jackson D., Jones S., Jones T., Jones V., Couch, Kennard, Lopez Romero, Marin, McLean, McLaurin, McLeod, Meeks, Mitchell, Moore B., Moore C., Morris M., Nelson, Wen, Paris, Prince, Pullen, Robichaud, Saints, Schofield, Scott, Shannon, Sharper, Smith M, Stevens M, Stevenson, Thomas A.M., Turner, Walensky, Wilkerson, Williams M.F., Williams N., Wilson, Beasley Teague,
Yes.
Bonner,
Yes.
Buckner,
Yes.
Burchett,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Cantrell,
Yes.
Dickerson,
Yes.
Dukes, Gamble,
Yes.
Gilliard, Gordon,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Gullett,
Yes.
Jones, J.B.,
Yes.
Kirby,
Yes.
Lott,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Metz,
Yes.
Momtahan,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Pruitt,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Singleton,
Yes.
Stovall,
Yes.
Williams R.,
Yes.
Carson, Douglas, Dukes, Gilliard, Gilligan, Hawkins, Hobson, Kendrick, Lumsden, Newton, Smyrie, Stevens R., Thomas E.
Members will look at the board and be sure that it is accurate. The clerk may lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 26. The ayes are 155, the nays are 6. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 294.
Senate Bill 294 by Senator Black of the 8th, Huffstetler of the 52nd, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 47-2087 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to eligible large retirement systems authorized to invest in certain alternative investments. This bill having referred to the Committee on Retirement, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Chairman Bonnie Rich to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, this afternoon I bring to you Senate Bill 294. Current law allows our state large retirement plans to invest up to 5% in alternative investments. Alternative investments include investments such as real estate and private equities. Senate Bill 294 will allow the teacher retirement system this same ability, subject, of course, to the final decision of the TRS Board of Trustees. This is a permissive bill. It allows them the ability to invest up to 5% in alternative investments. It does not require it. We have, I have heard from the largest school system in the state, the Gwinnett County School System. They are in support of this bill. Page and the Georgia Retired Educators, they testified in the retirement committee where I sat and heard this bill, and they are not opposing Senate Bill 294. So I do ask for your favorable consideration, and Mr. Speaker, I will yield to any questions.
You have a question if you care to yield.
I do.
Chair recognizes Representative Wilkerson up in the gallery to your left.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
Yes, I do.
Can 5%, can you equate that into dollars?
No, I actually am not on the Board of Trustees. I don't have the dollar value there.
Okay, so $4 billion wouldn't sound unreasonable if the retirement plan is right around about $80 billion, that we would go from 0 to $4 billion on a minimum, and that actually this chamber is, do you yield for another question?
Actually, I haven't answered that question
Okay,
yet, and it is not a minimum. The minimum is 0. There is no minimum or max. There is no minimum here, so it's a permissive statute.
Okay, does the gentlelady further yield?
I do.
And I was going to add on to that. Right now, they cannot invest anything. This would go to 5%. However, is it not true that this body passed a bill that is sitting in the Senate that would take it to 10%?
Actually, that is not entirely accurate. It's important to note that there is currently a substitute in the Senate committee that keeps the teacher retirement system cap at 5%.
Does the gentlelady further yield?
I will yield for one more question.
Okay, I'll make a
from
statement.
you.
Yeah, thank you. To be honest with you, we did actually pass a bill at 10%, as you said, is being amended in the Senate that would possibly take it to 5%. But at this current moment, the only bill we passed was 10%. And is it not further true that some of these investments, most of us would not be able to invest in because you would have to be an accredited investor, meaning that you would have to have a net worth of over $1 million or $300,000 in income. And so that while I reached out to the teachers that I reached out personally to were opposed to it. Is that not true?
If the gentleman so states.
Do you further yield?
Yes, I do.
Chair recognizes Representative Jasmine Clark to your right up in the gallery.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
I do.
So, these funds, these alternative investments, have been used in other parts of the country. Can you provide us any information on how well those have performed in other parts of the country where they use this?
I can actually provide information about how well they've performed in Georgia. The state the ERS, the state plan, has been investing in alternative investments, and they are seeing a return on investment of approximately 14 to 16%. Our Fireman's Fund is seeing a return on investment of approximately 18%. In addition, the state of Alabama has allowed their teacher retirement system to invest in these alternative investments. One of the chosen ones are some golf courses, which have proven extremely beneficial.
So, does the gentlelady further yield?
Yes.
So, what you're saying is that if we were to do this, if we were to allow the teacher retirement system to do these alternative investments, that we can guarantee that they will get an increase in their return on investment?
No, in fact, the investments that our teacher retirement system are currently investing in provide no guarantee. There are no guarantees in the stock market or in private equities.
Do you further yield?
Yes.
Chair recognizes Chairman David Knight to your right for a question.
Does the lady yield?
I do.
Thank you for bringing this bill, and thank you for being so informative with it. Again, I want to make sure, isn't it true that, again, this bill simply allows, at the professional discretion of the board of trustees that's over this, to use one more tool in a limited fashion as far as its portfolio. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And isn't it further true that as they balance the portfolio against the needs or the withdrawals, that a balanced portfolio that has longer-term investments at higher returns helps this fund in the long term and helps the retirees in making sure that this is a better funded plan?
Yes, exactly. The law, as it's written now, does not allow those investors to use their professional judgment to invest in an appropriately diversified portfolio. This law will allow them to do so. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. Previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine and call the roll. Just a minute, Mr. Clerk. What purpose does Representative Bodie rise?
Parliamentarian.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true, Mr. Speaker, that the Georgia Federation of Teachers do oppose this bill, and that was made very clear in their legislative agenda, Mr. Speaker?
I have no idea what their position is, if the gentleman so states. What purpose does the chairman of the Retirement Committee, Chairman Benton, rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that the retirement system itself, TRS, is asking for this bill?
If the gentleman so states, I'm sure he knows as the chair of the committee. What purpose does Chairman Martin rise?
Inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true, Mr. Speaker, that there are professional executives that manage this fund, and I don't worry that they might not have enough knowledge to be considered accredited investors? Isn't that not true?
If the gentleman so states.
Isn't it further true, Mr. Speaker, that this state has made a promise to the teachers and all those covered by the professional educators covered by this plan, and it is our job to make that payment when we need to, and in no way, shape, or form will this risk the promises we've made to professional educators. Isn't that true, Mr. Speaker?
If the gentleman so states, I know he is quite familiar with this subject matter.
Yes, sir. If I might, one more, Mr. Speaker. Isn't it true that this bill, the first group, isn't it true, in Georgia, the firefighters pension fund that used alternative investments and is getting that high return on those, took that bill over after we tried to do this some years ago to the TRS fund, and if we'd done it then, they would be in a better shape now. Isn't that true, Mr. Speaker?
If the gentleman so states. What purpose does Representative Wilson rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true to the gentleman's last point that because of the promise the state of Georgia has made to teachers, this bill presents no risk to teachers but actually protects the taxpayers who would have to pick up the gap if there is one?
That seems to be a feeling here on the in the House. All right, final parliamentary inquiry before we vote. Chair recognizes, what purpose does Chairman Houston rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it not true if Georgia Teacher Retirement Fund had invested in Georgia real estate like Alabama did, they'd be better off?
They did pretty well over there. All right, Mr. Clerk, you may unlock the machine and call the roll.
Alexander, Ballinger, Farr, Barton, Belton, Bennett, Bentley, Benton, Beverly, Blackman, Bodie, Bruce, Burns, Carpenter, Carson, Chokus, Clark H., Collins, Cooper, Corbett, Dempsey, Dickey, Dollar, Drenner, Dubnik, Evstration, England, Irwin, Fleming, Fry, Gaines, Gardner, Glanton, Gravely, Harrell, Hatchett, Hawkins, Hitchens, Holcomb, Holmes, Houston, Hughley, Jackson M., Jaspers, Jones J., Kelly, Kendrick, Knight, LaHood, Laricchia, Lumsden, Martin, Mathiak, McCall, Morris G., Newton, Nix, Oliver, Parrish, Parsons, Petrie, Perkle, Powell, Reeves, Rhodes, Rich, Ridley, Rutledge, Scoggins, Setzler, Silcox, Smith L., Smith R., Smith V., Smyrie, Stevens R., Tankersley, Tanner, Tarvin, Taylor, Thomas E., Trammell, Washburn, Watson, Welch, Werkheiser, Wiedauer, Williams A., Williamson, Yurda, Allen, Bazemore, Bernau, Cannon, Carter, Clark D., Clark J., Cook, Davis, Douglas, Dreyer, Donahue, Earhart, Evans, Frazier, Gilligan, Gertler, Henson, Hill, Hogan, Holland, Holly, Hobson, Howard, Hutchinson, Jackson D., Jones S., Jones T., Jones V., Couch, Kennard, Lopez Romero, Marin, McLean, McLaurin, McLeod, Meeks, Mitchell, Moore B., Moore C., Morris M., Nelson, Huen, Paris, Prince, Pullen, Robichaux, Saints, Schofield, Scott, Shannon, Sharper, Smith M., Stevens M., Stevenson, Thomas A.M., Turner, Walensky, Wilkerson, Williams M.F., Williams N., Wilson, Beasley Teague,
No.
Bonner,
Yes.
Buckner, Burchett, Caldwell,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Cantrell,
Yes.
Dickerson,
No.
Dukes,
No.
Gamble,
Yes.
Gilliard. Gordon.
No.
Green.
No.
Gullett.
Yes.
Jones, J.B.
Yes.
Kirby.
Yes.
Lott.
Yes.
Mathis.
Yes.
Metz. Momtahan.
No. Yes.
Park.
No.
Pruitt.
Yes.
Rogers. Singleton.
Yes.
Stovall.
Yes.
Williams, R.
Yes.
Allen. Anulowitz. Bazemore. Bennett. Beverly. Buckner. Bernal.
No.
Bernal.
No.
Chokus. Davis. Douglas. Evans. Gilliard. Gravely. Henson. Hutchinson. Jones, J. McLeod. Meeks. Morris, M. Nelson. Rich. Robichaux. Saints. Schofield. Scott. Smyrie. Thomas, A.M. Washburn. Welch.
Members will take a moment and examine the board. Mr. Clerk, you may lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 294. The ayes are 104, the nays are 55. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. To what purpose does Chairman Newton rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
I move that Senate Bill 483 be recommitted to rules.
Chairman Newton has moved that Senate Bill 483 be recommitted to the Rules Committee. The clerk will read the caption.
Senate Bill 483 by Senator Brass of the 28th and Burke of the 11th, being entitled an act to amend Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to health so as to provide for certain Medicaid reimbursements for patients treated pursuant to a behavioral rehabilitation joint venture.
On the gentleman's motion that Senate Bill 483 be sent back to the Rules Committee, is there objection? Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is so ordered. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. Senate Bill 435 will be postponed to the next legislative day. Senate Bill 446 will be postponed to the next legislative day. House Bill 1148 will be postponed to the next legislative day. House Bill 1195 will be postponed to the next legislative day. Senate Bill 318 will be postponed to the next legislative day. Senate Bill 337 will be postponed to the next legislative day. Senate Bill 340 will be postponed to the next legislative day. Senate Bill 394 will be postponed to the next legislative day. Senate Bill 442 will be postponed to the next legislative day. Senate Bill 482 will be postponed to the next legislative day. Senate Bill 489 will be postponed to the next legislative day. What purpose does Representative Todd Jones rise?
To make a motion?
State your motion.
I ask that SB 71 be moved from the Governmental Affairs Committee to the Special Committee on Access to Quality Health Care. Both chairmen have agreed.
Representative Jones has moved that Senate Bill 71 be moved from Governmental Affairs to the Special Committee on Access to Quality Health Care. The clerk will read the caption.
Senate Bill 71 by Senator Watson, the 1st, Burke of the 11th, Black of the 8th, Huffstetler of the 52nd, and Kirk of the 13th, being titled an act to amend Article 4, Chapter 7 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to county and municipal hospital authorities.
On the gentleman's motion that Senate Bill 71 be withdrawn from the Governmental Affairs Committee and committed to the Special Committee on Access to Quality Health Care, is there objection? Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is so ordered. The clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
Commending Kia James, commending the House interns for the 2020 regular session, commending and congratulating Glenn W. Wilkie, recognizing January 15, 2020 as Cervical Cancer Day and January 20th as Cervical Health Awareness Month, recognizing and commending Pastor Apostle Thomas H. Vinson for his faithful leadership and commitment to High Point Christian Tabernacle of Smyrna, Georgia, and for other purposes. That completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. If you have signed up for an announcement, be making your way to the front of the chamber. And while members are doing that, please help me wish a happy birthday today to Representative Bill Yerda. Representative Yerda, happy birthday. Chair recognizes Chairman Hitchens for an announcement.
The Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee will meet at 3:30 today, 606 CLOB. 2 bills.
Chair recognizes Representative Bennett for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Georgia Legislative Black Caucus House members will take a picture on the South Wing steps immediately upon adjournment today.
Chair recognizes Chairman Cooper for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Health and Human Services Committee will not meet today because we're backing up on other committees, and we'll see if we can't schedule something tomorrow. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Parsons for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker. Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications will meet at 2 p.m. and 606 of the CLOB. Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications, 2 p.m., 606 CLOB. Thank you, Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Newton for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Special Committee on Access to Quality Health Care will meet at 3 o'clock today in 403 CAP. We do have an addition to the agenda that we'll be sending out. So 2 bills we'll be discussing, 3 o'clock.
Chair recognizes Chairman Fleming for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Judiciary Committee was scheduled to meet today 15 minutes upon adjournment, but we will not have that meeting today and likely reschedule. No House Judiciary Committee meeting today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
One birthday, and I really blew it on this one that I forgot to mention. I want y'all to join me in wishing a very, very happy birthday to a guy that really means a lot to this house. I know he means a lot to to me, and that is our General Counsel, Keith Williams. Happy birthday, Keith Williams. What purpose does Chairman Welch rise?
Make a motion.
State your motion.
Move that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended so the bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee.
Chairman Welch has moved that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee. The clerk will read the caption.
Outnumbered House Bill by Representative Welch of the 110th and others to be entitled an act to authorize Henry County, Georgia, and each municipality located within Henry County to exercise all redevelopment and other powers.
On the gentleman's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is so ordered. Intergovernmental coordination. The chair recognizes the majority leader of the House for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand in recess until 4 p.m. today, and then be adjourned until 10 a.m. Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020.
The majority leader has moved that this House be in recess until 4 o'clock p.m. today, whereupon we would stand adjourned until Tuesday, June 23rd at 10 a.m. All those in favor of the motion will please say aye. Those opposed will say no. The ayes have it. This House will be in recess until 4 o'clock p.m. today. Then we will be adjourned until Tuesday morning, June 23rd at 10 a.m.